Okay, good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome to Gradeup. So, how are you all? Let us wait for a while so that you guys can join me. Very good afternoon, all of you. So, I hope so your preparation is up to the mark. Your preparation is very good. And for the past few weeks, you have been attending the live classes on the various topics. Very good afternoon, Patel. So let us wait for some more guys so that we can join. You guys can join me in this session on project organization, monitoring, and control. So how are your preparation going on for prelims paper 1? Hello, Pratmesh. So how are your preparation going on, Pratmesh and Keyur? I hope so your preparation is up to the mark and you are attending the live classes on Gradeup so that you are benefited from these free live classes on Gradeup app on prelims paper 1, because generally the students are very confused how to approach, what should be the topic and what should be the zest of that topic. Okay, so very good afternoon, Aman. Okay, I'm starting. So today's topic is project organization, monitoring and control. Clear? So this is a very interesting topic. It's a very small but interesting, and some of the questions are directly being asked. I have taken some sample questions, like 10 questions I have taken from this topic. So after studying in the full session, at the end of the session, I will be discussing some of the important questions, which is exam point of view very important for engineering service examination prelims paper 1. So this is about me. My name is Sooraj. I have this is my expertise, my M.Tech in thermal science and engineering, and this is my area of expertise. So without wasting the time, let us begin the session. One more thing, there's an important announcement for all the students. We are having an ESE paper 1 mock. So do register yourself now, and the exam will be held in between 25th of December 12 p.m. to 26th December 12 p.m. Okay, so please do register on this mock paper. We'll be having the analysis of this paper also. Clear? So let us begin this session. Let us start our, let us see what do you mean by project management. Like you, for the past few days, you might be studying about this topic of initiation, planning, executing. So in today's topic, we'll be mainly talking about monitoring and controlling, and on the forthcoming session, we'll be talking about the closing and termination. So this is the main, if we can say, the topics which is there in engineering service in project management point of view. So we'll start with initiation, then we go for the planning of the project. After that, we'll go for the executing of the project, and then monitoring and controlling, which we'll be studying in today's session. This part is a very important part, and last is the closing and the termination of the project. Clear? So before starting, let us understand what is project organization. In every project, whenever a project is decided, fine, when we plan for any project, so we have the top management, the top senior management, what they do, they hire a project manager. Fine. So they hire a project manager. Now the project manager, what he does, he basically create a team, a project team. He create a local site office. If I talk about construction point of view, fine. If you talk about the construction of any if you say power plant or building, any thing. So project manager, the main objective of the project manager is, he basically, what he do, he creates a team for execution. Fine. He deals with the outside parties, third parties, like for resources or for sponsorship. What are the different resources is being used in the project, that every types of dealing is done by the project manager, and every type of meetings and the representation of that project is done by the project manager. So basically what is happening, the senior management, they hire, they select the project manager, and this project manager basically, he creates a project team. He is having and constantly meeting with the outside of the third parties. Why this third parties is important? Because sometimes what they does, if I talk about a power plant, like if you are going for a power plant construction, yes, I will completing the project organization also and monitoring and control also. Okay. If I talk about the if I say thermal power plant, okay, you are there in a construction thermal power plant of 2100 megawatt power plant, fine, in which we are having 3 boilers, 700 into 3. So before starting of the project, the top management, what they does, they select a project manager. After the selection of the project manager, what they do, he basically he hires some of the managers who can manage the different human resources. Like we'll be having an account section, we'll be having a construction manager, we'll be having a quality manager, we'll be having execution manager, a planning manager. So there are various number of managers which is being decided only by the project manager. Fine, because the most important and the key personality in any project is the project manager, because that person is representing that project. Clear? So the team, the dealing with the outside parties, the person who is dealing with the client also, that the person is project manager. And who decides or who select the project manager? The top management. The senior management, they first decide or select the project manager, and after that the complete hierarchy is being decided by the project manager. Clear? Any doubt in this? This is the main hierarchy of the project organization. We'll be discussing in detail one by one. Any doubt in this? Because this is very general thing, because when you see the syllabus of engineering service of paper 1, it's completely written. You don't have to study an extra, you should not give any extra hours for these subject. Fine. So what does that mean? You should be having a basic concept of that subject which is quite relevant, or which is pretty much relevant for any graduating engineers. Clear? So if I talk about the project manager, so these are the different qualities of a project manager. What are the different main important qualities of project manager? The qualities of project manager are, he should be having a very good, we can say, planning ability. You should be having a very good communication skills. You should be having very high energy levels. Outside interested parties means, let me give an example. Let me give an example. For example, BHEL, you might be knowing about BHEL. BHEL is giving a tender, a project of, for example, 100 crore. Fine. They're giving a project of 100 crores, and 100 crores is taken up by L&T. You might be knowing about these firms. Fine. Just do let me know if you're having any doubt. I'll be explaining you with a practical example, because in that way you will be able to remember these keywords whenever you are solving any problem for ESE. So BHEL, they have given some project. Clear? So they are given, okay, 100 crore budget is there. So they will be uploading a tender, fine, in the newspaper. So bidding will be occurring. So for example, L&T backs this project of this 100 crore. Clear? So can you tell me which is client and which is we can say the constructor? If you say this BHEL will be client, this BHEL will be client, and this one will be the service provider. Service provider. Clear? Now L&T also, what they do, L&T now they'll be hiring its own project manager. Fine. And this project manager, what they do, he will be having different managers under him who will be taking care of the different activities. Now if I talk about the third parties basically means this PM will be also be associated with some of the vendors. For example, he needs some cranes. Clear? He deals with some resources like for example steel. Clear? So these are the different resources. Now BHEL won't be giving directly the cranes and this steel. These are basically third parties. They are not directly associated with BHEL. Clear? So these third parties will be only be dealing with this project manager, not with the BHEL. That is written over here. Clear, Prakash? What is this outside third parties? Outside third parties means L&T also will be giving a project or tender, fine, to the third parties or any other. Like for this, if I say these two relation, L&T will be the client and this will be the service provider. Clear? This can also happen. This cranes or this steel can also give this tender to their subcontractors. Fine. So these are basically the subcontractor, the service provider of the subcontractor. They will act as client for these subcontractors, and for BHEL, L&T will act as the subcontractor and BHEL will be the client. So this is the outside or third parties, because these outside parties is not at all dealing with the direct the client, the main client of the firm. Clear? So this should be knowing what is the role of a project manager. Now, after knowing the project manager role, you should be knowing what should be the good qualities of any project manager. Let us see what should be the good qualities of a project manager. he should be having a very good, we can say, planning capability. Fine. He should be having a very good management skills. He should be having a very good ability to tackle any problem instantaneously. Fine. So these are the various basic qualities which, if you read it, it is very easy to understand. Right? So for a good project manager, these are the different, we can say, attributes or qualities which a good project manager should be having. Clear? He should be having a great communication skill. He should be able to manage the, we can say, quick decision we should be making. For example, if in a construction site, some mishappening is happening, like if an accident is happening, so instantaneous or quick response or everything should be, the final decision should be given by the project manager. So that is why the project manager, the role of a project manager is very, very important in any firm, in any organization. Clear? So that is why this project organization is considered to be the very, very important. This is very easy topic. I'll be going through it very easily so that you can understand this topic. Clear? Fine. So these are the different attributes of a project manager. Like he should be having a good ability for the time management. He should be having a self-evaluation, like because under him will be having 100+ employees. So he should be having the ability to take care of all the employees, to take care, there is no biasing occurring in the firm. Fine. So every responsibility, the project is being happening under the time schedule. So everything should be, that attribute should be there for the good project manager. Clear? Now, if I talk about the role of a project manager, what is basically the role of project manager? Fine. The first role is he will be appointing the different managers who are required for any, for example, under project manager, if I talk about again for a construction site, because many of you will be able to relate with the construction site. If I'm taking an example of a construction site. For example of power plant, I'm taking a practical example of a power plant. Now, can you tell me under project manager who should be the managers or the personals should be under the project manager? Because these sessions should be interactive, because if you're not able to understand it, then it will be very difficult for you to understand. So if I say in a construction site, under project manager, can you tell me what should be the different managers should be there? Any guess from your side? Under project manager, who should be the different types of manager or hierarchy should be there? Anyone? Yes, are you back with me? Do respond so that I'm able to see, because there was some technical issues. So that is why there was some lagging in the video. Do reply me if you are able to see. Okay, fine. So let us continue from this. Now, we were talking about the project manager. Under project manager, we were talking about the different, this was the only example, like I've seen some of the replies: executive, construction, senior manager, quality manager, site engineer. Okay, now site engineer is coming under construction manager. Now my question is, whenever like anyone of you have visited any construction power plant, any construction site? Okay, now whenever, if you get a chance to visit any construction site, do personally meet these two managers. This is very important: a construction manager and a quality manager. Always you will find these two are having a constant conflict between the two. So can you tell me the reason why always we are having a conflict between the construction manager and a quality manager? Because construction manager, basically he needs to execute the project, the process or schedule in the timely manner, but quality manager needs to have the quality assurance. So if you are having some lack in the quality, your project speed or duration, we can crash that project duration. Clear? So all these internal conflicts is being managed by the project manager. So that is why the project manager is a very, very important role in any construction management site. Fine. So the management ability of construction manager should be a very good. He should be able to manage all the managers, because constantly will be having, whenever you see any construction site, it will be a building construction, a road construction, or a power plant construction. Every time you will be seeing the project manager constantly having a meeting, having a resolution of the conflicts between the two managers. Clear? So management skill and leadership quality should be there in a project manager. Now, if I talk about project team PMO, basically this is the similar thing that of the appointment. What is this? He basically prepares a team for its organization. With PMO means project manager organization. Clear? So basically he makes a team and have a proper structuring being done by the project manager itself. So the project manager not only stops by the appointment of the personals, but basically who should be leading which team is being decided by the project manager. The structuring is being done by the project manager. Clear? Stakeholder management. So can you tell me what do you mean by stakeholder? Anyone who can tell me what is stakeholder? Stakeholder basically means clients. We are talking about the clients only, because they are the only ones who are paying for that project. Clear? So all this management, all this dealing with the client is being done by the project manager itself. Clear? Fine. If I talk about the planning and control system, how this project should be executed, what should be the resource management, every decision, the final decision is being done by the project manager. So that is why these are the different roles. I've taken only the few important roles which is there for a project manager. We are having more than this number of roles, but these are the main important roles which is very, very essential for any project manager. Clear? Now, if I talk about there are various types of organization in any industry. So first type is functional organization. There are basically three types: functional organization, your product organization, and matrix organization. So anyone who can tell me what is functional organization? Anyone who can help me out with this, with the functional organization or product organization? Anyone who can respond to this? Functional, product, and matrix. Okay, look, functional organization basically means the hierarchy, the structuring of the organization is being done on the basis of the role of that personnel. Fine. Let me expand this. Functional organization, this basically it is the most basic, exactly, very good Prakash, divided into number of parts. Now, functional organization is the most basic and the logical type, and this is the most commonly used structuring in any organization. Fine. Like we'll be having the general manager or the project manager at the top, under which we'll be having the different manager according to is the functionality of that role. Fine. Functionality basically means if you are talking the finance, so this manager will be basically he'll be only dealing with the finance point of view. This manager, if I talk with the production point of view, this manager will be only dealing with the production point of view. This is personnel, manager of personnel means HR. These are the HR personnel, and last is the marketing. Now, this is very basic, very commonly used, but can you tell me what will be the drawback of this type of organization? Anyone who can tell me what will be the drawback of this organization? If you are using this type of structural organization which is called functional organization, so can you tell me what will be the drawback of this type of organization? Anyone who can tell me what should be the drawback of this organization? Because it's quite easy to understand. Okay, you saw it. We are having a very basic hierarchy. Under general manager, we are having financial manager, we are having production manager, we are having human resource manager, which is HR persons, we are having marketing manager. So will there be any disadvantage to this? Anyone? The main disadvantage of this type of organization is, very good, Chiru. Very good, very good. I'm getting constant response. Lack of intercommunication, delay in making decision, progression of work. not know exactly. For example, the finance manager has allocated the resources. He have found out, okay, these should be the resources, but the production point of view, it is not being done. So what will happen? There is no communication between the two managers. So what will happen? Your work output will be delayed. Fine. Also, due to this lack of communication, what will happen? They will be having a delay in the decision making. Why? Because the finance manager is only responsible in the dealing with the finance related issues only. Production manager is related with the work in progress in the production line only. If there is any conflict between a topic which is shared by common to both production and finance, then that type of due to the intercommunication or due to delay in the decision making will be having an issue in the decision making. Fine. So due to which what will happen? Our work in progress will be hampered. Clear? So this type is basically, it's the most common type, and you will see definitely this type in every, almost in we can say in the 70% of the organization, you will be seeing this type of hierarchy or this type of organization. Clear? So always remember the function organization by the name only, it suggests that on the basis of its function we are classifying the different personas or different managers. Clear? So this is the first type of organization. If I talk about the second type of organization, this is called product based. Now in this type of organization, what we'll do, we'll be having the bifurcation, the organization or the structuring of the managers on the basis of the products. For example, we are having a multi-product. Fine. Let us say if you taking this an example, let us say we are having ITC. You might be knowing about ITC. Indian Tobacco Company. Now ITC is basically is having multi products. Fine. Now we are having multi products. So we are having in the food section also, we are having the pharmaceuticals, cosmetics and health products. So this type of we can say the bifurcation or the differentiation of the structuring on the basis of the final product, on the basis of the product, is known as product organization. I have given you the basic example like ITC. Clear? In ITC we are having food item also, we are having beauty products also, we are having some medical products also, pharmaceutical product also. So this is the basic example. Once again, look, the previous one was we are structuring on the basis of the function, but in this case we are structuring on the basis of the product. Fine, on the basis of product. Like let us take an example, ITC. In ITC, it is a we can say conglomerate. Fine, ITC is a conglomerate. Conglomerate means we are having different businesses under this ITC. We are having Sun Feast. Fine, like food product are also there. We are having tobacco business also there. Fine, we are having some ITC. If you take about medicines. Fine. So these are the different product of this company. So if ITC, there is a general manager of the ITC. So under this, we're having some manager who is responsible for only the food products, only pharmaceutical products, only cosmetics, and only health product. So in this way, what will happen? The main advantage of this is, for example, if you're having some quality checks or any delay in work in progress in, for example, pharmaceutical product. So directly, this manager will be taking care of all the decisions coming under pharmaceutical products. So the tracking of product based, we can say, difficulties is very easier in this type of organization. Clear? For example, if in ITC we are having some product quality based issues in the food quality. Fine. So we'll be directly going under this section, which is the manager of the food products. So this person will be the responsible person who will be taking care of all the product based on this hierarchy. Clear? So this type of organization or this type of structuring, where the structuring is done on the basis of the we can say product of that organization. Clear, Prakash? If you're having any doubt, clear? Let us say third type. Now third type is basically a matrix type. Matrix type, what we do, we are combining the functional and the product organization. Let me directly go to this diagram. Now we'll be having general manager. Fine. Under general manager, we're having civil. Now we are talking about some construction site. Construction site. Fine. We are having a construction site. General manager, we are talking about, this is basically the project manager. The project manager, under this we are having a civil manager, structural manager and a mechanical manager. Also we are having another hierarchy, which is the project manager for line 1 and this is project manager for line 2. Now if you take this, the civil manager will be taking care of all the responsibilities coming under the civil point of view, and the project manager, this will be taking the functional activities. Fine. This will be the functional activities. You can see these are the functional lines or the responsibility, and this is the project lines of responsibility. Let me take one example. In the construction site, we are having a power plant. We are having a power plant construction. Now civil manager, I will be telling you about the individual roles, then only you will be able to understand. Now civil manager, what he will do, he will be taking care of all the management related to the civil activities. Clear? He will be taking care of the management of all the activities due to related to the civil activities. This is the structural manager. Yes, definitely, Saurabh. And this is for the mechanical manager. Fine. Now the project manager, they will be talking about the execution of the project. Execution of the project. Execution means, because some portion of the civil also required, some portion of the structural is also required, some portion of the mechanical also required. So this, whether this the work is being done, the civil point of view, this will be giving you the surety, like the civil manager has given the clearance for this project manager to go with this project for this work. Now after completing the civil, he will be going for the structure analysis or structural erection. Fine. So this structure will be giving us the clearance, like you can proceed with the structure, and after that the mechanical manager. I'm giving you an example. Have you anyone visited the power plant? Anyone? Because this is basically mechanical point of view. Anyone, have you visited any power plant? Okay, let us see. In a power plant, what is the first step? In power plant, basically initially concreting is being done. Concreting is being done, or the base formation is being done. Base formation. After concreting and base formation, what we do? We do erection of mechanical structures, or we can say frames. Structure or frames. Clear? After erection of this mechanical structure or frames, next step is we install the mechanical equipments. We install mechanical equipments. So the concreting part will be managed by the civil manager. The erection of the structures, the different erection of the steel structure will be dealt by the structural manager, and the installation of the mechanical components will be dealing by the mechanical manager. But as a whole, everything needs to be accomplished in a proper manner. This project manager will be taking all these activities is being occurring in a complete line or not, that is being done by this project manager 1 and 2. So basically we'll be having two bosses. One is this project manager who is taking care of the functional responsibilities, and the second boss will be this civil manager who is taking care of all the civil activities is being done by this by the civil aspirants. Clear? So understood? Because I have seen many of the students do have difficulty to understand this matrix organization. Any doubt in this? Let me tell you once again. Let us make it very easy. No, Vijay, if the civil manager's work is finished, it's not like that he is only, because in a power plant, if you go to the power plant, we are having boilers, we are having conveyors, belts, we are having the wagon tipplers, we are having the rail we need to see, we are having the electrical sections, we are having the power transformer system. So everything we need to have some concreting being done. Like nowadays we are having ash silo plant, fine, which is used to recycle the ash from the coal, so that the pollution level is being decreased. So basically the civil manager is not at all free until and unless every civil is being done. It's only I've taken only a single example. It's not like that if a civil manager has completed his work, he will be free. No, then that civil manager will be talking about the second project. Now this I've taken only 2 project managers. In this case, we'll be having like 10 project managers who will taking about the functional line of responsibility. Clear? Now it's clear? Okay, Vijay? Now, this was project organization. Now, let us discuss the most important topic, which is called monitoring and control. Now, monitoring and control is considered to be the most important. Why? Because by these activities, by these controlling tools, we can check whether our project is being is occurring in a project in a proper schedule. It is being any delay in the project, or is there any shortage of the resources? Everything is being dealt under this topic, which is called, this is under execution process only, which is called monitoring and controlling. Now, yes, definitely, Prakash, I will make another one more video for closing also. Now, if I talk about the monitoring basically means what they do. If this is, we are talking about in running condition, these are the different controlling devices or controlling tools which are in the running condition. Now, what we do, we try to collect the information, we try to collect the reports. Fine, this collection of all the reports and information is basically known as monitoring. Fine, we monitor. How we monitor? We try to collect the different recordings, the reporting of the project data. Now, controlling means what we do, the monitor data which we got by collection of these data, we try to monitor it by using different tools or different methods. We'll be seeing one by one what are the different methods. Fine, and let us understand what are the different methods. Now, basically, the control system is having 3 major or important things which you should know is cost, time, and quality. The main aspect or aim, Rahul, if I talk about the last 3 years, because from 2017 onwards, ESE Prelims syllabus has been changed. So from that point of view, only single question was asked. Fine. After this topic, I'll be going into the questions. After discussing the complete monitoring and control, I'll be taking 10 questions, and out of which I'll be taking 1 question or 1 or 2 questions, which was the previous year question. Clear? So you will be getting an idea. Most of time I've seen people or the students are very much scared of this paper 1 prelims. Fine, don't be scared with prelims paper 1. Why? Because this is only general question they are asking. I will be giving you a sample questions at the end. There is 1 question of ESE 2018 which I will ask you, and definitely if you are not even studying, you can definitely answer this type of question. So at least you should be having a basic idea. Don't study in detail, because in ESE they won't be asking any numerical based on this. They'll be asking only the concept and the knowledge which you are having. Clear? Okay, if I talk about the control system, 3 main agenda or point is cost, time, and quality. These are the 3 main key factors which is controlling, which is the control system being controlled. Fine, on which we do have the monitoring. Now, these are the different tools. We'll be discussing one by one. We'll be discussing one by one about the different tools, how this is working with an example of this. Okay. The first is work breakdown structure. Anyone who knows what is work breakdown structure or WBS? There are many. After this, although we are having many, I'll be discussing. These are important, which they have asked. Work breakdown structure, critical ratio, line of balance. In critical ratio, basically we'll be studying about earned value analysis. Fine. Line of balance, GUT, outsourcing method, review meetings. Some of the students might be knowing about these. Let me see, Rahul. Some of the topics you might be knowing. Some of the topics it's the first time you are hearing about. So let us see. The first is work breakdown structure. Anyone who can help me out with this? What is work breakdown structure or WBS? Shivendra and Pradeep, please tell me what is WBS, work breakdown structure. Rahul, Prakash, Vijay, what is WBS? Look, WBS basically means work breakdown structure. Yes, exactly, Prakash. What we do, we try to divide the work of the main component of the work into different sub components. Clear? Let us see with an example. Let us understand what is WBS. WBS basically the breakdown of the project into different smaller components, so that we'll be having a good quality and control check, and also cost point of view will be having an effective cost. Fine. It is like tree-like structure. It is like hierarchy is being given. I am taken one example. By using this example, I will tell you what is WBS. For example, you are manufacturing bicycle. Fine, you are manufacturing bicycle, and on this bicycle, 100 components is being defined. Fine, in this bicycle, 100 component is being defined. Now, this is WBS level 1, which is the main, we can say, the topmost on the hierarchy point of view. After this, the second hierarchy is WBS level 2, in which the bicycle is being divided into sub-components, which is, like we are talking about the frame set, crank set, wheels, braking system. This 100 is being defined like 15 is the frame set, crank set is 5, wheels is 30, braking system is 5, shifting system 5, integration 35, project management 5. Fine. So this is WBS. Don't see this side. Only talk about till this point. We are having WBS level 2. If you want what is the further bifurcation or the tree-like structure or hierarchy of this, again this frame structure is being divided into sub parts, like we can say this will be frame, handlebar, fork. When you add, this will be 15. Fine. Next is crankset, which is 5. Wheels, we are having the wheels as 13 front wheels and 17 rear wheel. Braking system 5, shifting system 5. Integration 35 means we are having a concept, design, assembly and testing, everything component. If you total it, that will be 35. So in total, we have divided the complete project into a smaller components. So this type, by using this type, we'll be having a proper control and quality check on this type of production system. Fine. So this is the example of WBS work breakdown structure. What we did, we need to have a production of bicycle. So we have seen, okay, 100 components or 100 different components is required. So what we did, we have bifurcated this 100 into some sub components. Fine. Like bicycle, we need to have frame set, crank set, wheels, braking system, shifting gear, integration, project management. Clear? And further, this being sub-classified like this. So this is an example. No need to by heart this. Just this is an example so that you can understand what is WBS. Because they won't be asking what is the importance of WBS. No, they'll be asking, okay, for controlling tools, what are the different types of, for controlling in a project management, what are the different types of tools? One of the tools is WBS. So what is WBS? This is the example of WBS. Because because everything you know, yes, it's a bicycle. Mechanical component, yes. It's a mechanical component. I've taken just an example because my background is mechanical. That's why I've taken an example from mechanical point of view only. Bicycle, this is a very common term. You might be knowing about this. Cycle. No problem, Prakash. This is cycle. For this, you should not be a mechanical engineer for understanding bicycle. This is basically cycle. The cycle, we are having frame set. Fine, like let me tell you what is this. Fine, so frame set is basically the frame of this. We are having crank set, that is a chain set we are having. Wheels, braking system, which will be installing. Shifting system, like shifting means we are talking about if you are having a bicycle. Exactly. Yes, Rahul. Clear? So it's bicycle is cycle only. Don't be confused with bicycle and cycle. Very like Atlas, cycle. Okay, fine. So this is about WBS. Now, critical ratio. For understanding critical ratio, you should be knowing what is on value analysis. There are some terminologies which you should know. It's very easy. It's very easy to understand. Now, cost variance, there are some terminologies. I'll be telling you the full form of this. What is BCWP? BCWP is basically budgeted cost of work performed. ACWP is actual cost of work performed. Now, they won't be asking you what is cost variance, what is clear. Now, what is cost variance? This is the difference between the budgeted cost of work performed with the actual cost of work performed. Clear? Now, for example, we're having 100 days of project. We're having 100 days project. Clear? We are on the 10th day. We're having a total of 100 days project. On the 10th day, it should be having a total cost. The budgeted which we have planned was like 10 crore. Fine. But actually on 10th day, we have consumed 12 crore. Clear? So what is cost variance? Cost variance basically tells you about, it's a difference between the allocated or the budgeted which we have planned at the starting phase minus with the actual cost of the work performed. Like actually on the 10th day, it has been like after 10 days 12 crore has been consumed, but the plan was 10 crore. So we are having a cost variance of 2 crores. Fine. So by seeing, if you see the cost variance to be negative, so what does that mean? So my question is, if I say if this cost variance is negative, so can you tell me whether you are moving in a profitable inclination or loss inclination? My question is, if the cost variance is coming out to be negative, so what are you in profit phase or a loss phase? Loss. Clear? It's very easy to understand. I've given you the example. On 10 day you have planned it should be 10 crore, but actually it was 12 crore has been consumed, so you are excess with 2 crore. So we are in the loss phase. Fine. So by using this cost variance tool, we can understand, if you have made a table, fine, on the WBS on individual components, what you have said, I've drawn a CV which is cost variance table, and you found out that if you club these two, let me club these two. So you found out that, for example, in braking system you found out the CV is coming out to be minus 10. In integration you are coming out to be minus 20. Fine. So what does that mean? In braking and integration system you are having a loss phase going on. For example, in the frame set you are having plus 30. So in that means we are having a profit phase going on under this frame set. So you can easily track where fine. So you can easily track where profit and loss is being occurring in the project. Now, this is called CPI. This is called CPI. This is also one of the tool which is called Cost Performance Index. What is CPI? This is basically tells about the ratio of budgeted cost of work performed divided by actual cost of work performed. So similarly, if your CPI is less than 1, if you say if your CPI is less than 1, what does that mean? If your CPI is less than 1, quickly tell me, will it be in the loss phase or the profit phase? If your CPI is less than 1, then it will be a profit or loss. Quickly tell me. Again, if your CPI is in the loss is less than 1, so that means your actual cost is increased as compared to the budgeted cost. That means you are again with the loss phase. So these are the different tools which you should know at least the name. You should be knowing at least the name. What is CPI? What is cost variance? Fine. And this is the formula for cost variance and CPI. Next is scheduled variance. Schedule variance is basically It's exactly same. But in this case, we are talking about the schedule of that. We are talking on the basis of the schedule. Fine. In this case, we are talking about basis on the work performed. In this case, we are talking about the schedule. Clear? So if you are budgeted, it should be 1 second. This is budgeted cost of work performed minus budgeted cost of work schedule. So by using this difference or the difference between the two, we can easily get to know whether our project is in profit or loss. Clear? The fourth one is very important, SPI, which is called Schedule Performance Index. Again, it is SPI is the ratio of BCWP upon BCWS. This is budgeted cost of work performed, and BCWS is budgeted cost of work schedule. Clear? Again, if this SPI value is less than 1, so you can easily get to know you are in the loss phase. Yes, what is your doubt, Ramu? SVC. SVC is basically we are talking about the scheduled. If you talk about this scheduled variance, in this case we are talking about on the basis of the cost. This is basically we are talking about the basis of the schedule. Fine, like the time frame. Because I told you in the starting, we are basically having 3 important factors, which is cost, time and quality. So on this, we can, by using this earned value analysis, we can easily track on the basis of the cost and on the basis of the schedule. Clear? Like date wise. Clear? Next, line of balance. This is also very important controlling parameter. Now this type of activity, line of balance basically is, always remember, whenever we are talking of line of balance, we are talking about repetitive work. Because this is the main important thing which you should remember. Because I've seen they have asked from line of balance, like the line of balance is dealing with which type of work. They are basically they are talking with repetitive work. What is this? For example, you are one of your friend Prakash is a civil engineer. So civil engineer, they are constructing urban town. Fine. For example, they are having an urban town planning. Like they are constructing house like this, A, B, C, D and E. Fine. So what will happen? Some of the when you bifurcate, when you draw the WBS of this, some of the component will be common for many of the houses. So what you do? You prepare or you produce the component which is repetitive. The components which is repetitive. Why repetitive? Because that will increase your capability, or that will increase the production rate of the of that organization. Clear? So whenever we're talking about the line balance basically is a planning technique for repetitive work. Fine. So at least whenever you're talking about LOB, line of balance, remember repetitive work. We are talking about repeated work, because in repetitive work what happens? We can initially procure some of the resources which is required for repetitive work, so that till that point of time, the rest of the resources can be procured and your effectiveness of that project will be increased. Clear? I have highlighted 2 key points. Whenever you are talking about line of balance, remember you are talking about repetitive work. Fine. You are planning, you will see in your complete work schedule which are the different type of activities which is repetitive. So we try to find out the repetitive work. Okay, let me see one more example. Let me take one more example. Okay. Let me take the example of this by using the bicycle, because you will be able to understand from this. Look, for example, you are taking this. I'm explaining LOB, line of balance, by using this chart. Now, if you talk about, for example, assembly point. or we can say frame. So for 100 component, we have seen 7 frames are there. Now the 7 frames will be similar. Fine. So the manufacturing or the production of this frame will be similar. So what we do, we collectively procure the frame will be like this is for example 7 cycles. You have to produce 7 bicycle. Fine. You have to produce 7 bicycle. So collectively, what you will do, you will collectively we can say produce all 7 frames in single go. Understood? Now what I will do, I have to manufacture 7 bicycle. For that I need 7 frames. Clear? 7 frames means, now for each bicycle I am taking 1 frame. So what I will do, I will produce or I can manufacture these 7 frames constantly with repeated, because all will be having same dimension. So quickly you can give an access to the resources, you can give access to the different types of machineries required for the production of these 7 frames. Up clear? Now clear, Rahul? It's very easy to understand. If you're not able to understand, just do let me know. I will give you another example. Any doubt? Rahul, any doubt? Because if you have any doubt, please do let me know. I'll give another example to understand what is repetitive work. Clear? Fine. So don't go in that much detail. Always remember, whenever we are talking about line of balance, we are always talking about repetitive work. This is the key point which you need to understand in exam. Okay. So you understood or not, Rahul? You are saying yes and no both. Understood? Okay, fine. Next is GUT. Like you might studied about the project management in the previous few classes. You might have studied about PERT and CPM. PERT and CPM. Fine. PERT and CPM you might have studied in the previous classes. So there is one which is known as GUT, which is called Graphical Evaluation and Review Technique. This is basically the probabilistic element or probabilistic approach, because CPM is a deterministic approach and PERT is a probabilistic approach. GUT is also a probabilistic approach, but in a diagrammatic form, or we can say in a different diagrammatically by different block diagram. Fine. So by different block diagrams we are basically understanding, and we are giving some of the block diagrams. We'll be drawing one chart. For example, we are drawing one chart. Fine. So by using this chart, what we understood, like these are different entities, and which of the entities is having the loss condition. By using this GUT, this basically in the simulation when we'll be using one software. Those who want to study the GUT in detail, you need to go into the software. Fine. In the software you give some shapes to different activities. We run that or simulate that activity, and we get to know, okay, this activity is consuming more time or is consuming more cost. So we accordingly will be having a check on that activity. Fine. So GUT, remember, for GUT it's a probabilistic element. Fine. And which we are having the block diagrams for understanding. It's a graphical representation or block diagrammatically representing the activity in a project management. Clear? Next is outsourcing. Now this is also very interesting. What do you mean by outsourcing? What do you mean by outsourcing method? Anyone who can tell me what is outsourcing method? Look, outsourcing is basically what we do. We give this controlling and monitoring part to the third party. Right? We outsource this monitoring and controlling, the portion of the controlling and monitoring to third party. That third party basically, that are the expertise in controlling and monitoring. Yes, exactly. Very good. Sridhar, which is better, PERT or CPM? PERT or GURT? Look, PERT is basically we are using for whenever we are going for the different time estimates. But in this case, in GURT, we are not having any time estimates. We are only having the block diagrams. Okay. So both are good at their own perception. Exactly. We are giving the contract to the third parties. Fine. So what they do, they take that contract and they have a check on our project, whether our project is having a good quality project, whether it is occurring in a proper time, proper cost and proper quality. So everything will be done by using outsourcing method. So why we are using this method? Because that will save the time of the organization, that will save the manpower of the organization. For example, if you are not using outsourcing methods, what we'll do? So one person will be particularly looking after this controlling and power. So we need to have the resources for that person. Fine, we should be having a separate department for that controlling and monitor. If you're not outsourcing, if you're outsourcing, so this person they can be utilized in the main project. They can be utilized in the main project so that your quality and the project will be increased. Fine. So that means you can use more number of persons or people in the project instead of using some person in the project controlling and monitoring. Clear? So we are giving this to a third agent, or we can say an expertise. Fine. Who are basically dealing, or who are basically doing this controlling and monitoring from various from previous experience. Clear? Understood? I won't be giving, because the idea is you should know what is this outsourcing method. Outsourcing means we are giving a contract to the third party who is basically looking after monitoring and controlling. Why we are giving to the third party? Because this will save the cost. Fine, this will save the cost in recruiting the special training methods, or the person who are specialists in controlling and monitoring. We need to spend that expenditure. Instead of that, we can use that expenditure in the main project for improving our quality. Clear? Also, that personnel will be having freed from their time so that they can contribute to the core activities and add more value to the organization. Clear? So that is why we are using outsourcing method. Next is basically review meeting. Now this is also by name you should know what is review meeting. Review meetings basically we have constant meetings. Like if you talk about the project manager, he will be taking the review meeting with the construction manager, mechanical manager, structural manager. Fine. So we'll be having like many of the projects are multidisciplinary activities. So review meetings are the most effective way for monitoring and controlling the activity in any project. Clear? So I'll be highlighting some of the points which you need to remember. Review meeting are generally discussed for multidisciplinary activities where different managers from different background, for example, finance, marketing, branding, or we can say construction, mechanical. So different managers will be sitting in a single meeting and they will be having a constant checks on that review meeting. Clear? So by using this review meeting, which is very important in where we are having multidisciplinary activities, so different functions can be monitored with the direct involvement of the top management. With the direct involvement of the top management. Clear? Yes, very good. It's similar to the audit, but audit is basically more we can say professional point of view. Review meeting will be like, for example, project manager is making a review meeting at the end of this week. So basically, for the whole complete week, what are the plus, the cons and the pros of that project or the activities on all mechanical, in construction, in civil, in electrical, all the difficulties that can be discussed on this review meeting, and some of the solution can be sorted out by multiple discussions. Fine. So that is why review meeting is also, it's very general and most common type of controlling method. Clear? Controlling and monitoring method. Review meeting. We can say it is similar to the audit also. Fine. Clear? Any doubt in this? So these are the different tools which you should know. Next, very important, a very interesting topic is resource allocation. What is this resource allocation? Basically, resource allocation is project managers sometimes do come across some of the constraints due to the resources availability, due to the availability of the resources. Sometimes the project managers have resource constraints. Fine, they have some resource constraint. So they might be due to the non-availability or delay in the arrival of the material resources, or there may be the shortfall of the human resources. Human resources means we are talking about manpower. We'll be having the shortage of the manpower, sometimes delay in the we are having sometimes the excess of human resource. Let us say one example. let me take one example, then that will be clear for you. For example, there is a construction of a building. We're having construction of building. So initially you will be requiring a less number of people, because in the starting phase your construction is not directly started. Some of the resources needs to be bring down. After that, when the base is created, when will we go for the concreting, then more number of people is required. Clear? After concreting, we'll be giving some time for the concrete so that it will settle down. Fine, which is called I hope so many of the civil engineers might be knowing, we give water to the concreting so that it is having a good strength also. Fine, so in that phase less people is required. Again, when we go for the we can say bricks is being placed on the different columns, so in that time also more people is required. So basically what is happening, sometimes we do require more number of people for the activity, sometimes we require some lesser people of the activity. Sometimes in the initial stages resources required is very less, in the middle execution phase it will be very high, and in the ending phase will be very less. Fine, like if you see the graph between the time and resources, so if it will be something like this, initially it would be low, then it will be high, then again it will be low. So this is basically the trend which you need to follow. Curing process, exactly, very good. Curing process, like many of the civil engineers might be knowing, curing is basically after your concreting is done, you pour water for improving the quality of that concrete, okay, which is called curing process. Now resource allocation, they can be achieved by two methods, which is called resource leveling and resource smoothing. These are the two different methods. Clear? Now this is very important because I've seen some of the questions being asked from these two subheadings, so we'll understand one by one. What is resource leveling? Resource leveling, we are talking about when we have time constraint but the resources are unlimited. Let me go to the next slide. Very important. Resource leveling basically means when the resources are unlimited but we are having a project duration unchanged or fixed. That means you cannot change the time or the end phase of a project duration. Okay, you are a electronic engineer, then also you know this. Very good, Rahul. Let me take one example. For example, you are going for a for example, you are going for construction of, or like this one, yeah, you are going for a canal lining project that might be required to be completed before the monsoon set. In this case, so what is happening? In this case, what is happening? You are having a fixed time. You need to complete your project before the monsoon is started, because after the monsoon is started, you cannot do this canal lining. So in this case, your project duration is fixed, but the resources which you can use is unlimited. That means you can spend as many resources as you can in order to cut short your time. Fine, in order to complete your project in the specified, in the scheduled time. This type of activity you might be coming across in the we can say modeling also, in PERT, CPM, like crashing. You might have heard about the term crashing of the activity. Fine, so crashing is basically what we do. We try to increase the cost of the project by decreasing the time period of the project. Fine. Similarly, what is happening in this type of resource leveling is done where we are having the project duration being fixed and the resources are considered to be unlimited. Example is canal lining, or the second example is a school building is to be required to be completed before the school reopens. So we are having a time foundations, like you need have some renovations being done in the school. So you need to complete that in the specified time by adding more resources. So this type of resources or this type of situation is known as resource leveling, where we are having a condition like the resources are unlimited and the time is fixed. The second type is resource smoothing. In this type of resource allocation, what is happening? The resources are limited, but the project duration can be changed. That means we can change the schedule of some of the activities later also, or we can postpone some of the activities, we can prepone some of the activities. So this type of resource allocation is known as resource smoothing. Fine. So this type of allocation is known as resource smoothing. Why this is done? Because sometimes, like I have drawn the chart, when I draw the chart, initially the resources required are very less. Initially resources required are very less. After the resources required are very high. So what we do, we plan some of the activities such that the activities which required the major portion of the resources will be completed in this time frame, and the activities which required lesser manpower will be completed in this time frame. So this type of activity is called resource smoothing, where the time is not a constraint. Fine. So main difference between the resource smoothing and resource leveling is, in resource leveling your time is a constraint, in resource smoothing your time is not a constraint. Yes, how much project cost can be estimated means 2 to 3%. Yes, we do have some limits or tolerance. Fine. It depends upon company to company. Ajay, it depends on company to company, because some of the firms they go up to maximum 4 to 5% also, but some of the companies they go for 1 to 2% also. So it depends. Maximum they cannot go beyond 6 to 7, because if they are going beyond 6 to 7, that will be a very huge amount. So that is we can say, if the project is required to complete in 100 crore, fine. So they take a plus minus of 2 to 3%, which is 2 to 3 crore. Clear? Exactly. We need to reduce this the apex point, the peak point. Fine. How we can reduce this peak point? By allocating the activities which required more manpower, and in this time frame where the less manpower is required, we can allocate some of the activities where we do require less manpower. Okay, very good, Rahul. Exactly, that's the main thing which you need to understand: resource smoothing and resource leveling. Clear? Any doubt in this? So this basically completes your monitoring and controlling. Okay, so let us discuss some of the sample questions which you should be participating. You should be giving the answer, because these are very easy to understand. When you read the statement, you can easily get to know. And I have taken one question which is 2018 prelims question. So let us begin the question session. Okay. First question. In a matrix organization, which of the following is true? Read the statement carefully and do let me know. By reading the statement, you can easily answer the problem. Just remember, whenever you're talking about matrix organization, you just remember the diagram which I've shown you. By using that diagram, you can able to get what is there in this. Which of the option you seems to be correct? A, B or C, D? A, B, C, D. Which of the option you feel is correct? Yes, Rahul, yes. Because there is no time constraint. We can shift the activities according to our wish, because there is no time boundation. Okay, B and A, I am getting two answers. Sridhar is B, Ramu is A. Okay, let us see one by one. Just read the first statement. The project manager is responsible for employment skill improvement. Is project manager responsible for employee skill development, or the human resource manager is responsible for the employee skill improvement? Fine. So not at all. Project manager is not at all directly associated with the employee skill improvement. Let us take option D. The employee is responsible for his or her own skill improvement. No, this is also not at all correct, because it's not like company is also having a human resource team which is constantly working on the improvement of the resources or the improvement of the technical ability of the employee. A is not there, D is also not there. Let us see between B and C. Okay, project manager responsible for the employee's annual appraisal. Is it true or false? If you are talking about the matrix organization, remember matrix organization was something like we are having construction manager, we are having structural manager, we are having mechanical manager, and we are having individual project manager for all these activities. So correct answer is B, not C, because in this type of activities, project managers are not at all responsible for annual appraisal, because they are only responsible for the functional ability. Just remember, here was project manager 1, project manager 2. So these were basically responsible for the functional ability in combination with the civil manager, erection manager, structural manager, and mechanical manager. So correct, and the most appropriate answer is option B. Clear? So option B is the most appropriate answer. Let us see next. The overall coordinating person in a construction team is, now it's very easy question. Quickly respond to this. The overall coordinating person in a construction team is it A, owner, or B, architect, C, project manager, or D, contractor? Okay, fine, very good. I hope so there is no buffering issue, because I have seen many of the students are replying. Very good. Pushya, Shivam, Balakrishna, Anchal. Correct, very good. I've seen from the starting of this session, I've started with the project manager. What is the importance of the project manager? So project manager is the person who is who is the coordinating person with the construction team. So most appropriate answer is project manager. Contractor won't be there. Architect won't be there. Owner is not at all responsible. He is only having a direct link with the project manager. The owner asks the project manager, and the project manager asks the construction team whether this the project is going within the schedule or not. Okay. Let us see next question. Who is ultimately responsible for the quality management of the project? Just read the statement carefully. Who is ultimately responsible for quality management of the project? Is it project engineer? Is it project manager, quality manager, and team member? Just read the statement. Who is ultimately responsible for the quality management? A, B, C, or D? I'm getting A and C as options. Okay, very good. So done. Look, if this statement has something like who is responsible for the quality management of the project, in that case your answer should be quality manager. But they are specifically said who is ultimately responsible for the quality management of the project. That is basically the project manager, because the project manager is basically looking after the quality also, the finance also, the construction also, the execution engineers also. If I talk about the overall management, his project manager is responsible. But if you say the question is who is responsible for the quality control or quality check on the project, in that case that will be quality manager. Fine. But if you say what is ultimately responsible for the quality management of the project, option is project manager. So basically in ESE you seems to be, you know the answer, but the questions are sometimes so much tricky that you are not able to understand. Fine. So please do read the statement carefully, what they are emphasizing on. If they are emphasizing on they're given ultimately responsible for the quality management, so definitely that will be the project manager, not the quality manager. Sridhar, I hope so you are late for the okay, fine. Project engineer, it's like site engineer. We can say the site engineer. If you want to see the hierarchy, it will be like project manager. Under project manager will be having if you say this is construction manager, construction manager, we are having finance manager. Under construction manager will be having project engineer. We are having a quality manager. Clear? Project engineer, he will be responsible for the execution of the project. Sridhar, like project engineer, like in the construction will be, we do require some of the site engineers or the project engineers who see after, who are dealing with the contractor and the resources. Clear? So project engineer is basically, they deal with the site point of view. Clear? Like in the site, whether the work is going in time. Clear? So everything is being managed by the project engineer, and over this project engineer we are having construction manager. Clear? Next question. During project staffing, the primary role of line management is? Yes, quickly tell me. During project staffing is basically the deciding of the team. When we are deciding the team, okay, you got the project, okay, 100 crore project is there, then project manager decide the team. Staffing is basically, the meaning of staffing is you are deciding the team, the complete construction team. Now the question, during the project staffing, the primary role of the line management is approving the selection of the project manager, approving the selection of assistant project managers, assigning function resources based upon who is available, assigning function resources based upon the ability and the skill set needed. Which is the most appropriate answer? Because all are correct, but one option is the most appropriate. Do let me know. Very good, Rahul. You are correct. Correct. Fine. So by reading the statement, you can definitely see option D is correct. Very good, Shivam. Chiru, Shivam, Rahul, all of the three of you are correct. Ramu, it should be Jagdish, very good. D. Sridhar, correct. Look, the functional resources, assigning the functional resources based upon who is available, it is also correct, but the most appropriate is the assigning the functional resources based upon the ability and the skill set needed. Because for example, you need a person who is good in welding. Fine. If a person is good at welding, you need to see whether his skills is needed or not. Fine. For example, you are working in a construction of a building and you do not require a welder, but you are seeing, okay, welder is available, do procure his, take that welder. It is not at all relevant for the project, because we need to also check whether his skill is needed or not. Clear? Fine. Understood? So option D is the most appropriate. Obviously C is also correct, but D is the most appropriate answer. Because in engineering service, I am again telling you, in prelims paper, you will be finding multiple options to be correct. Fine. So let us see the next question. The various tools used for project control are WBS, line of balance, precedence diagrams, critical ratio, network simulations, all of these. You're welcome, Rahul. You're welcome. Which option is correct? These are the various tools used for project control. Obviously, we have studied WBS, we have studied line of balance. Precedence diagram, basically they are talking about GERT, GERT. Network simulation is also dealing with GERT. Critical ratios, we are talking about earn value analysis. So correct option is option A, all of these. Hello, Devpal Singh. So correct. So option A is the correct answer. How to choose appropriate answer from so many answers? You need to have some patience. You need to read all the options correctly. Then only. Precedence diagram, basically like the network diagram which you have studied in CP and PERT. Precedence diagram. Like if activity B can only be started after the activity A is completed. So A, B, C, D. Clear? That is called precedence diagram. In critical path method, or you might have drawn the different networks. Fine. So that is called precedence diagram. Precedence diagram is like after project activity C can be started, only activity A is completed. So after A, it will be C. Okay, that is called precedence diagram. So option A, correct all of these. Next question. A line of balance with respect to project A's planning technique for repetitive work is highly effective for determining areas of weakness and focusing on the items requiring immediate action. Here resources will not spend until they are required, allows buffer time between any two stages. All of these 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2 and 3. Let us read the statement individually. Line of balance is basically we are talking about repetitive work. So option is correct. Okay, option first is correct. Let us read the second statement. Is highly effective in determining the areas of weakness and focusing on the items requiring immediate action. That is also correct, because in repetitive work we do have a check on the resources, and the resources which is required for the repetitive work, we can definitely go for this. Third is here resources will not be spent until they are required. This is globally acceptable, because the resources will not be utilized until they are being used. So this is also correct, because there are some repetitive activities going on. So there are some phases will be there where the resources are not used, they are kept as vacant because some of the repetitive activities are being there. Allows buffer time between any two stages, exactly, because I have told you in the repetitive works we constantly do repetitive works. So there will be some chances like there are like 100 or 10 activities, 10 A activities which should be repeated. So after this is completed, B should be started. So during this time period we can procure the resources, for B. So we do have a buffer time between any of the two stages. Clear? So option A is the most appropriate answer, because all the 4 statements is satisfying the definition of line of balance. Clear? Done. Next question. Graphical evaluation and review technique is it a deterministic, probabilistic, quantitative or project appraisal technique? I've told you where I was explaining about GUT in controlling method. Very good, Chiru. Very good, Chiranjeevi. Anyone else who knows the answer of this? Himanshu Pandey, C. Rahul De, B. Sridhar B. Pradeep B. Graphical evaluation, I just now told you GUT is a probabilistic approach. Probabilistic tool or approach. Fine. So option B is the correct answer. When we were studying GUT, you might have come across this term. I have highlighted this term so that you should know. Fine. So option B is the correct answer. Probabilistic project controlling. This is the tool which is used for controlling, and this is a probabilistic control tool. Okay. So option B is the correct answer. Very good. Those who have buffer time not understood. Okay. Look, buffer time is there are 20 activities in total. Okay, let us say an example. There are 20 activities. Out of the 20 activities, 12 activities are repetitive. 12 activities are repetitive, and rest 8 activities are unique. This is repetitive. Fine. We're having 20 activities in an organization, in a project, out of which 12 activities are repetitive and 8 activities are unique. So what we do, we try to complete this. We have checked, okay, we have the resources of these activities. We have the resources of these activities, and we try to complete this. Fine. While this execution of these activities is going on, we can procure, we do have a buffer time. We do have a buffer time for procuring the resources for different 8 unique activities. This is called buffer time. Clear? Understood, Rahul? Look, 20 activities, we have taken 12 activities are repetitive. So this 12 activities require, for example, 30 days. I have taken, okay, this 12 activities required 30 days. So we have a buffer time of 30 days. In between the 30 days, we can procure the resources required for 8 unique activities. So this is called buffer time between the two stages. Clear? Okay, let us move. Next question. Review meeting in a project are used as a project tool, means to come at the consequences of any unresolved issue, done at each month, technical problems and shortcomings not discussed. Quickly tell me the answer. Review meeting, without studying the review meeting also you can solve this question. A and B. Okay, let us see. I'm getting two answers. Chiranjeevi, B, Rahul, A. Sridhar, Pradeep, Jagdish, respond. What should be the answer? Review meeting in a project R. Okay, sorry. Okay, Ajay Kumar Mehto, B. Let us check. Let us see each statement carefully. Read the statement. Review meeting in a project R. First, use as a project control tool. Absolutely correct. These are the project control tool. Second, means to come at the consequences of any unresolved issue. Obviously, in the review meeting, we do have the solution of some of the unresolved issues which is being dealt with. Okay, then at the end of the each month, it is not at all required. It is not at all mandatory. We can do weekly basis also. We can do daily basis also. It is not hard and fast rule. You have to do at the each month end. And fourth is technical problem and shortcoming is not discussed. This is also not at all correct because we do have the discussion on all the aspects, all the issues in the project management. So the 1 and 2 is correct. So option B is the most appropriate answer. Option B is correct. Okay, very good. Those who have responded B. Hemant, Pradeep, Pushpa, very good. Pushpa, A is not correct because these two statements are not supporting this review meeting explanation. So option B is correct. Next question. Resource smoothing considers unlimited resources and limited time, limited resources and limited time, unlimited resources, unlimited time, limited resources and limited time. Which of the following is correct? Quickly tell me. A, B, C or D. I have given you the meaning, the definition of resource leveling and resource smoothing. Where we use, I have given you the example also of resource leveling and resource smoothing. Very good. Devarshi, Chiranjeevi, Rahul. Quickly tell me what should be the answer. So option B is the correct answer. Limited resources and unlimited time. Akash, it should be B because we have the limited resources, we have a resource constraint, but we don't have any constraint in the time. Clear? So option B, not C. It should be B. Very good. Rahul, Devpal, Pradeep, Pushpa. Very good. Those who are responded B, all of you are correct. There is no criteria where we are having both the factor resources and time unlimited. Either time is constrained or resources constrained. That is the two types of resource leveling. Okay. Resource allocation, we are having two types of resource allocation, resource leveling and resource smoothing. Resource leveling is basically when we are having a time boundation but resources are limited, and resource smoothing is when we are having we can say limited resources and unlimited time. Clear? Next question. Now this question came last year 2018. I've deliberated given you because you should know what, because similar to the crashing we have understood some of the terms. So crashing is abandoning the project, completing the project with all possible haste, reduction of duration of few activities, reducing the cost of the project with all needful modification. So which of this is correct? And this question was asked last year 2018. So you can see what are the variation of the question they are asking and what is the level of question they are asking. They are asking very basic question. Like in today's session I have shown you some of the question which is very basic, and you can expect this type of question in ESE 2020. Clear? So option C is correct. A reduction of duration. So can you tell me anything which is similar to crashing, where we are reducing the time, or we are having some time constraint? Can anyone who can tell me, we have in today's session we have studied similar to the crashing where we are having some time constraint and unlimited resources. What is that term called? Resource leveling or resource smoothing? Where we are having time constraint? Very good, Pushpa. Resource leveling. We are talking about resource leveling. So similar to that concept is crashing, where what we do, we try to reduce the time so that, very good, Krishna, we reduce the time frame because time is the main constraint at an expense of the cost. Okay, clear? So these were some of the questions which I felt it should be dealt in the live session, so that you should be knowing how to proceed for ESE prelims paper. They are not at all asking the numerical, they are asking only the basic concepts. Okay, so very good. Resource leveling, we are talking about resource leveling only. So thank you for being with me for this live session on ESE 2020 project organization, monitoring and control. So any doubt in this? No doubt. So this is about the green card. Like many of you might be knowing, green card is basically you will be having an access to many problems, many mock tests, 120 plus questions, 24 subject tests. You can proceed for any one of the card. You can go for yearly or monthly card. Your mail ID. Sir, you didn't reply the marks needed for paper 1. Look, it's not like you can have, like, if I'm telling that will be a pretty much, it depends upon the number of aspirants, it depends upon how they're performing. I cannot directly say the marks needed, but definitely you should aim for more than 60% marks in paper 1. More than 60% marks in paper 1, then only you will be in the competition. Clear, Rahul? My mail ID, this is about the green card. After that I will be telling you the mail ID. Green card basically give you the access to the number of questions which will make your concept improvise and which will improve your confidence level on that question. Okay, about my mail ID is, you can those who are having any doubt, they can revert me back to this mail ID. My mail is Sooraj.Gopi GOPI @gradeup.co. Fine. Those who are having any doubt related to ESE, like Rahul is having a doubt of the marks needed. Pusha will be telling, will be having sessions. I'll be dealing with the project management. Fine. So I'll be talking about the various topics required. Because this approach is very much effective for those who are going for 2020 ESE. Clear? Project management related, I'll be taking all those topics. So this is my mail ID. Okay, so those who don't know about this is my mail ID. You can ping me in this. And Krishna, you can download the study material in the app itself. In the when you go in the Gradeup homepage, you can directly download it. Fine, you will be having PDFs being given. So some articles is being also floated, where like what should be the strategy for ESE 2020. You can refer that. Okay, so thank you for joining with me with Gradeup. So prep smart with Gradeup, score better, and always do subscribe this channel so that whenever we are having any live session, you will be getting the notification as early as possible. And do join me with any future classes with the Gradeup. So thank you and all the best for the exams, and we'll be meeting after half an hour on the mock analysis of paper which you have given. Okay, the mock analysis of the mock test which you all might have given yesterday. Brush up किस book से करें sir? Brush up, don't you can take any you can download any. There are many ebooks. Just at least solve for per topic 50 questions. That is more than sufficient. Fine. Just take 50 questions from that topic. That will be covering the whole subject. Don't go that much into deep, because that will make your preparation we can say tired and boredom, because these topics, some of the topics are very boring, so it's very difficult for the student also to study. Clear? So you can brush up this with any book. You can take up any book, whichever you like. Clear? So thank you for being with me. This is Sooraj signing off from Gradeup. All the best for the exams, and we'll meet after half an hour on the same channel. So thank you and all the best.